Hello everyone present here. This is Apurva from Mom's Belief. I hope you all are safe and doing well. Today we have with us Dr. Rishikesh Ghator. He's MBBS from MIMSR Medical College, Latur, done diploma in child health and child health from DMIMS Medical College, Wardha. He is having total experience of 7 years in the field of pediatrics, including developmental pediatrics. He has done fellowship in neurodevelopmental pediatrics from Nair Hospital, Mumbai, also practicing as a neurodevelopmental pediatrician at Radiant Rehabilitation Center, Amravati. He has been handling the cases like cerebral palsy, autism, developmental delay, and behavioral issues in children. Today, Dr. Rishikesh is going to tell us about the topic behavioral problems in children. A very warm welcome, Doctor. Thank you for joining with us today. Now, without any further ado, let's start the session. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for such nice discussion. Hello. Hello, everyone. Can we start now?
Sure,
Yes, sir.
sure.
Okay. So our today's topic of discussion is behavioral problems in children. We already know that this is the burning issue, especially during this COVID pandemic time that these behavioral issues are getting increased day by day, and the parents are facing the child's behavior on day-to-day basis, and they don't know what to do with this behavior, and some of these behaviors are really problematic and affecting their day-to-day life also. So first of all, what is behavior actually? So the definition of behavior refers to the any action or reaction of an object or organism, usually in the relation to the environment, and behavior can be a conscious or the unconscious one, or it can be overt or covert one, and the voluntarily or the involuntary. Uh, Hello. Please switch on to previous slide. Okay. So behavioral problems include the disorders that represent a significant deviation from the normal behavior. The root of the behavior is traceable to the home or the school environment. The factors that can be associated with the behavioral problems are we are going to divide these factors into two parts. That is, one is the child related and other are the parent related. So the child related problems are related to child's health, child's development, and the coping mechanism. So here we can take the example, if we can relate to the child's health, suppose. So if the child's health, that the child is ill and he is suffering from any illness or having fever, then he can have the problematic behavior. Or pertaining to child development, if the child is having global developmental delay and he's not able to understand the things, or not able to understand the commands, or he's having some locomotion problems like cerebral palsy, then he can also throw these tantrums, and other other problematic behaviors are more common in such children. Okay. So the second issues or the behavioral problems are related to the parents, and we can say that the misinterpreted behaviors and the mismatched expectation or the parental styles and the coping mechanism can also cause or can also be related to the this problematic behavior. For example, we can take this mismatch expectations, and nowadays the parents are having so much expectations from their child, and sometimes this will create a mismatch, and child's abilities are not matching the parental expectations. So there is a gap and the mismatch, and so then therefore it will create a situation that will result into a problematic behavior. Okay. So next slide. So, what are the common behavioral disorders in children? Okay, so vegetative disorder, habit disorder, speech disorder, and the disruptive or the antisocial disorder. Vegetative disorders are mainly related to the eating and the elimination. So eating disorders like the pica, rumination, anorexia nervosa, and the elimination disorders like enuresis, encopresis, and the sleep disorders like the night terror, nightmares, and the somnambulism, and the narcolepsy or cataplexy. The habit disorders, it includes the benign ones like tics and the bruxism, and the organic ones like the Tourette syndrome. The speech disorders, it can be the stammering or the elective mutism or any articulation or the phonation disorder. And the disruptive or the antisocial disorders includes the breath holding spell or the temper tantrum, and the conduct disorder or the oppositional defiant disorder or the truancy, and the sexual disorders related to, and we cannot every time term it as a sexual disorder, but the masturbation and the homosexuality. There is still a debate related to homosexuality. Okay. Yes, so now we'll move on to personality disorders. It includes the anxiety neurosis and the affective disorders. Like the among the anxiety disorders, it includes the phobias like school phobia, social phobia, generalized anxiety disorder, and the OCDs that are the obsessive compulsive disorder. And if we talk about this mood disorder, then it includes the depression and the suicidal tendencies and the bipolar one. Okay, and the psychosomatic disorders, this include the conversion reactions and the Munchausen by proxy syndrome. And the pervasive developmental disorder, like it includes the autism disorder, ADHD, and the Rett syndrome. Remember this. This is the old classification. Okay, so nowadays the any autism or autism kind behavior, whether it is autism, Asperger, okay, or social communication disorder, these are all included in the autism spectrum disorders. Okay, to understand the things better, I have included this old classification in today's seminar. Okay, and the last one are the learning disabilities. These are the dyslexia, dysgraphia, and the dyscalculia. Next slide, please. Okay, so now these behavioral problems are divided into the age group wise, or as per the age group, the manifestations of the behavior problem also varies. So this is the classification that is according to the age group. Okay, so in infant and toddler age group, toddler is from 1 to 3 years. Okay, we mostly see this thumb sucking, nail biting, breath holding spell, or the evening colic, or the stranger anxiety, or the temper tantrum. And we also have to consider that some of these behavior, like stranger anxiety, is normal from about 6 to 8 months to about 15 to 18 months. Okay, tantrums are mostly fairly okay if there are within the normal considerable range and norms from around 1 to 3 years. Okay, so if any behavior that is excess in amount and that is disturbing the parent's life and hampering the child's development is abnormal. Okay, so in the preschool age group, we are going to see this thumb sucking, nail biting, masturbation, and the tic disorder, encopresis. Okay, that is the involuntary passage of the faces, and the sleep disturbances. Okay, among the school age children, there is the stuttering and the sleep problems, enuresis, encopresis, school phobia, and the conduct disorders are quite common. And if we consider this adolescent age group, then juvenile delinquency and the eating disorder, conduct disorders, and the conduct traits and the oppositional defined disorders are quite common. Okay, next slide, please. So one by one, we are going to talk about these disorders. So pica. So pica is nothing but a pattern of eating of the non-nutritive substances for at least 1 month. Okay, that is inappropriate to the child's development level, and the culturally sanctioned practices. So it pica क्या होता है? So this is not for the practitioner. They already know that. The pica is nothing but जो चीजें नहीं खानी चाहिए और जो सोशली अप्रोप्रिएट डेवलपमेंटल एज नॉर्म्स के हिसाब से नहीं है, वो बच्चा खाता है। अभी इसको बहुत बार हम रिलेट करते हैं कि वार्म इन्फेस्टेशन है क्या, नहीं तो आयरन डिफिशियंसी एनीमिया है। इससे हम बहुत बार pica को relate करते हैं. So the substances commonly ingested are the clay, ice, starch or hair. Okay. Pica is normal developmental behavior till 18 months of age, when the infants have a tendency to mouth all the objects within their reach. Okay, so pica is associated with the mental retardation sometimes, and it can be a manifestation of the emotional neglect or iron and zinc deficiency or the worm infestation. Okay, and what are the complications of this are or the lead poisoning or the iron deficiency anemia. And how to manage this pica, and we have to treat this predisposing factors and also the complication issues also, that we have to treat the iron deficiency anemia, helminthiasis and the lead poisoning if there are any symptoms related to that. Okay, and the behavioral modification strategies also can imply to treat these issues. Okay, and second one is the rumination. Rumination is rare, but this is a severe vegetative disorder in the infants, mainly of the 3 to 12 months of age, and it is characterized by self-induced or the spontaneous regurgitation of food after feeding. That is, बच्चे को हम कुछ खिलाते हैं, फीड करते हैं और उसके बाद में वो खुद निकाल देता है और मुंह में रखता है. Okay, so it is more common in males and emotionally deprived children, often leading to severe failure to thrive and occasionally their death. Death can be due to aspiration also. Next slide, please. So now we'll move on to this elimination disorders. So among the elimination disorder, first one is the enuresis. Okay, and second one is the encopresis. So enuresis मतलब क्या होता है कि एक्चुअली बच्चे ने 2 से 3 साल के वक्त उम्र तक, एज तक बच्चे ने वॉलंटरली बॉवेल एंड ब्लैडर हैबिट्स कन्वे करना चाहिए. मतलब बॉवेल हैबिट्स, और व्हेन ही नीड्स टू urinate, child should convey from about 15 to 18 months or maximally about 2 to 3 years. Okay, or at least he should indicate, okay, that he is having desire to micturate and he has to go to the toilet. Okay, so if the what is enuresis, it is repeated involuntary voiding of urine into the bed close beyond 5 years of age. Okay, and the day and night time bladder control is usually achieved by 18 to 30 months of age. And what is primary enuresis, in which the child had never normal enuresis is only during the sleep, and mixed type is nocturnal plus diurnal enuresis. Okay, so primary enuresis is mostly functional in origin and it is due to delayed maturation of the bladder function. Okay, तो ब्लैडर की कैपेसिटी नहीं है उतनी, नहीं तो ब्लैडर का फंक्शनिंग डिस्टर्ब है, नहीं तो देर आर सम ऑर्गेनिक इश्यूज और द एनाटॉमिकल इश्यूज that is hampering the normal bladder function. And if all these problems are happening or causing the normal voiding of bladder, then it is a primary enuresis. Okay, and second one is the secondary enuresis. Secondary enuresis is due to the recent emotional stress in the family members or in the family, or underlying organic pathology like urinary tract infection, obstructive uropathy, diabetic mellitus or insipidus, where the normal urine production is more. Okay, due to more excretion of the sugars. Okay, and the neurogenic bladder or the seizure disorder. Okay, so what are the investigation that we can do with the child, if any child that present to us with the complaints of enuresis? Okay, so we have to investigate the child first. Ask the parents about the history of the constipation. Okay, because constipation is mostly associated with, and it can be a cause of the enuresis. Okay, so first ask the child and the parents about the constipation, take detailed history about that. Then UTI evaluation, that is urinary tract infection evaluation. Also has to evaluate the child for the renal function test and the urine specific gravity. Okay, that is related to and important in the differentiating from other causes of polyuria like diabetes insipidus and other issues. Okay, spine X-ray and the neurological evaluation. That is, spine X-ray is particularly important in among the cases of this spina bifida and other causes. Okay, and urinary tract imaging and the urodynamic studies. Urodynamic studies and imaging is important to consider the capacity of the bladder, and we have to evaluate the pre and post voiding capacity also. Okay, so now we are going to cover this management part and the management behavioral and the habit modification and the bladder stretching exercises and the conditioning devices like bed waiting alarm and the pharmacotherapy, which includes the desmopressin, imipramine on the oxybutynin. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so medicine part for treatment of this enuresis. So as we divided this enuresis problem into two parts, that is the daytime incontinence, that is due to that less functional capacity of the bladder, and the nocturnal enuresis. Okay, for the daytime incontinence, the main treatment is with this oxybutynin, that is the anticholinergic medicine. Okay, Oxyspas, that is a brand name. Okay, and the dose is for more than 5 years, 2.5 mg BD. This is the starting dose, and you can take up to this maximum 5 mg TDS. Okay, there are long-acting preparations also, and start with the 5 mg OD, and you can try titrate up to 20 mg OD. Okay, extended release tablets and the brand names are also mentioned here. Okay, and if you consider the nocturnal enuresis, then desmopressin is approved by US FDA. But we have to remember that that desmopressin use should be restricted to some short acting period, or where the child needs to go into some vacations or camping. Okay, because the emission rate is quite high with the desmopressin. Okay, so tablet name is mentioned here, that is Minrin is there, zero point 0.1 and 0.2 mg. And nowadays the desmopressin melt tablets are also mouth dissolving, rapid mouth dissolving tablets are also there. Okay, but with the desmopressin melt tablet, the dose is around 3/5 of the normal dose. That if we are going to give the child 0.2 mg of the normal Minrin tablet, then with the desmopressin melt tablet we have to give 0.12 milligram. Okay, and the tablet should be interrupted during the acute illness, and with the desmopressin there is always a risk of water intoxication along with the hyponatremia. Okay, and other medicines used are the anticholinergic like oxybutynin and the imipramine. Okay, but while considering the treatment approaches for the enuresis, the best one with the less remission rate, less relapse rate, is this alarm therapy is one of the best one. Okay, alarm therapy, star chart, behavioral modification techniques are always better, and later if the problem is uncontrollable, then only opt for the medicines like anticholinergic, imipramine, and the desmopressin. Okay. So next slide, please. Hello. Yes. Thanks. So next problem is the encopresis. Okay, the encopresis is nothing but the involuntary passage of the feces in inappropriate places beyond the normal age of control. Okay, so primary, again the primary encopresis and the secondary one. So primary encopresis when the toilet training was never achieved, usually till 4 years of age. Okay, or the secondary one when it reappears in a child who was previously continent for around more than 1 year. Okay, this type is more frequently observed as a result of neglect, lax training of the method, or mental subnormalities, or suppressed anger, and defines to cause to toilet training. Okay, secondary encopresis, it is usually due to chronic constipation with the overflow incontinence. Uh, we can consider the examples like Hirschsprung disease, that is congenital megacolon, ganglionic megacolon, anal fissures, hypothyroidism, substance abuse, or associated with the habitual overuse of laxative. What investigation we have to do in a child who present us with the encopresis? Remember, most of the cases of the encopresis that we encounter in our clinical practice are due to long-standing constipation, or second one are with associated with the mentally subnormal child. Okay, so what are the investigation we have to do in these cases? Are we have to take the detailed psychological history and the cognitive examination, cognitive history also, per rectal examination, neurological examination, including the local spinal examination, thyroid profile, anal manometry, and the barium studies for congenital megacolon, that is Hirschsprung disease. Management part, the treatment of constipation with the laxative and the enema, and the voluntary toilet training that the patient should encourage to visit the toilet 10 to 15 minutes after each meal to induce the gastrocolic reflux. Behavioral modification and psychotherapy are the integral part of this treatment. Next slide. So sleep disorder. Sleep disorder. Among sleep disorder, there are insomnia, okay, or the interrupted sleep, or the abnormal sleep behaviors like somnambulism and the night terror or nightmare. Another one is narcolepsy, where the excessive daytime sleepiness often associated with the cataplexy. Okay, so here are some differentiating point among this between this night terror and the nightmare. Simply remember that with night terror, there is some autonomic response from the body, and child is difficult to console. Okay, and child doesn't remember the event next day, and child and with the nightmare means we have to remember mare means memory, that the child will remember what has happened with him the last night. Okay, and child can be consolable, and parents does not require much effort to comfort him. Okay, next slide. Habit disorder. Habit disorders include this bruxism and the tics and the Tourette syndrome. The bruxism is nothing but the repeated functional grinding of the teeth with high pitched sound and usually during the sleep. Okay, it is common, usually begins around 4 years of in the early adolescent age group, 14 years of declining after 14 years. It is usually considered as the tension discharge activity with because of the child unexpressed anger, and or any anxiety issues can be there. Okay, and the management part, it is mainly the parent counseling and the behavioral modification and psychotherapy. Second one among this habit disorder is tics. Tics is the involuntary rapid and the recurrent non-rhythmic motor movement or the vocalization. Tics are more common in school age children. Hello, sorry for the interruption. But tics is the involuntary, sudden, rapid, recurrent, non-rhythmic motor movement or the vocalization. Tics are more common in school-age children. Okay, and tics may have a pre-activity urge, and it can be suppressed also. The types of tics is the simple motor tics or the complex tics. Okay, next slide, please. Tics are usually benign and are considered as a tension discharge activity. Generally, tics tend to worsen with this emotional stress or the parental attention and relieved on distraction or the sleep. And the management part, parental counseling and the behavioral modification. And sometimes if it is in excess amount, then the drugs such as the haloperidol can be considered. Okay. Next one among this list, we will consider about this Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome is rare, but it is a severe tic disorder where both mostly the both motor and the vocal components are also there. Okay, And usually motor component appears by 7 years and almost always precedes the vocal component. And it can be associated with some organic and the pathological causes and the disorders like the PANDAS, that is pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorders, okay, neurodegenerative disorders, and with any genetic and the neurobiological abnormalities can be associated with the Tourette syndrome. For the management part, apart from this behavioral therapy and counseling, the pharmacotherapeutic therapeutic management, if we consider, it is mainly comprised of this drugs like clonidine, benzodiazepines like clonazepams, and the carbamazepine. Okay, so most commonly the clonidine is used. Okay, and apart from that, for short-term issues, the clonazepam can be used. Next slide, please. Thumb sucking or the nail biting. Okay, so it is a common habit in infant and toddlers, and most children overgrow it by around 3 to 4 years of age. Persistence of this the habit beyond this age is abnormal and may cause the following adverse effects like the dental problems, speech issues. Okay, and thumb sucking or nail biting is usually considered as an indicator of the suppressed insecurity and the anxiety, and is often associated with the emotional neglect and the over disciplined rearing and inherently shy or the stubborn behavior. And management part, the behavioral modification techniques, action, and the application of the bitter substances over the thumb or the fingers, or physically restraining the child uh, by splinting the hands. All this can be used if the child is having persistent thumb sucking or nail biting. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, so temper tantrums. These are the most worrisome behavioral issues nowadays among the parents related to their children. Okay, so temper tantrum is nothing but it is another medium of expressing the internal anger and frustration in relatively older children, that is more than mostly 18 months, and these are peak at around 2 to 3 years of age. Okay, and it's characterized by either the physical aggression or the crying or the kicking, head banging, throwing objects. So all these behaviors are included as a part of temper tantrums. Okay. Most of the children learn to control their behavior by around 5 years with the gradual reduction in the frequency of temper tantrum. And if you consider this management part, then the prevention of injury during the attack is important. Firm and consistent attitude towards the child by the parents. Okay. And the purposeful neglect during the attack, timeout session, and the positive reinforcement. We are going to see the detailed description and the management part of this temper tantrum and relatively mild behavioral issues during the latter half of this today's discussion. Okay. Conduct disorders are usually seen in the older children and adolescent and usually characterized by the range of recurrent antisocial behavior like stealing, lying, truancy, or cruelty to the animals or the property. Oppositional defiant disorders and the conduct that is antisocial personality disorders are included in that. Okay. Next slide, please. Uh, so now we are going to see this disruptive behavioral disorder. Okay. Among these, the first one is the breath holding spell. The second one is the temper tantrum. And third one is the ODD and the conduct ones. Okay. So these are all related to the negativities. Negativism, that is the opposition to parental instruction, is normal phase of the development during the 1836 months. That is roughly around 3 years, leading to anger and the frustration. By 4 to 5 years, children learn to control their behavior mostly. So disruptive behavior denotes an antisocial behavior usually due to parents child conflict or child urge for autonomy or the expression of underlying anger, defiance, or the frustration issues. Breath holding spell or the cyanotic spell. We all know that there are two types: the cyanotic spell or the pallid spell. Okay. This is precipitated by the anger or the frustration of the child, and the prolonged crying and holding the breath in the expiration phase of breathing, and it leads to cyanosis. Okay, and the loss of consciousness, hypotonia, or the seizures can be there. Okay, EEG mostly normal. Okay, and the second one is the pallid spell, where the child becomes pale. Okay, and it is mainly due to the fall or the slide. Okay, pallor or limpness instead of the cyanosis is more common. Management part that prevent the injury during the spell, avoiding the attack by physical stimulation, that pinching, shaking, supraorbital pressure. We have to correct the iron deficiency anemia by iron supplements. The piracetam is recently approved for the use of breath holding spell. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes. So the anxiety disorder. So I'm going to cover this anxiety and the mood disorders, anxiety, depression, and the bipolar disorder in short. Okay. So the term anxiety disorder or neurosis disproportionately, when we call it as a disorder, then if it is a disproportionately excessive anxiety to real event or the undue anxiety to imaginary. So there are certain types of anxiety disorders like phobia, obsessive compulsive disorder, or the generalized anxiety disorder or the specific anxiety disorder. अभी ये सब anxiety disorders में एक common excessive worries can be there. अभी मेरा क्या होगा, अभी आगे जाके क्या होगा, नहीं तो कोई भी सिचुएशन एनकाउंटर करते हुए पैनिक एटीट्यूड रखना. ओके, सो worrisome excessive worries and the panic attitude. Okay, and the phobias. So all these are the manifestation of this anxiety disorder. Okay, कभी कभार बच्चों को स्कूल फोबिया रहता है, तो सोशल कंडीशन में अगर जाने से अगर बच्चा डर रहा है तो उसको सोशल फोबिया बोलेंगे. जनरलाइज एंग्जाइटी डिसऑर्डर, जिसको लाइफ के हर सिचुएशन में जिसको चिंता रहती है, नहीं तो अनड्यू पैनिक बिहेवियर रहता है, उसे हम जनरलाइज एंग्जाइटी डिसऑर्डर. नहीं तो स्पेसिफिक एंग्जाइटी डिसऑर्डर्स आर सेपरेशन एंग्जाइटी. लाइक कई कबार तो बच्चे, नॉर्मल बच्चे भी डरते हैं कि मम्मी पापा से दूर जाते समय, बट अगर वो एंग्जाइटी कुछ ज्यादा हद तक है, नहीं तो ज्यादा है, तो वो फिर सेपरेशन एंग्जाइटी डिसऑर्डर. नहीं तो एक उसका टाइप है ऑब्सेसिव एंग्जाइटी डिसऑर्डर का, एक टाइप है ओसीडी, ऑब्सेसिव कंपल्सिव डिसऑर्डर. इसमें क्या क्या मैनिफेस्टेशन दिख सकते हैं कि बच्चा बार बार हाथ धो रहा है, मतलब उसको ज्यादा क्लीनलीनेस की फिक्र है, एक्सेस ऑर्गेनाइज थिंग्स रख रहा है, तो उसको चीजें वैसी की वैसी ही होना है, कुछ चीजें फेंक ही नहीं रहा है, सब चीजें जमा कर रहा है, मतलब होल्डिंग जिसे बोलते हैं. बार बार कुछ चीजें चेक कर रहा है, मतलब दरवाजा बंद है कि नहीं तो ये बंद किया है कि नहीं, ये बार बार चेक कर रहा है. ओके, तो ये सब ओसीडी के मैनिफेस्टेशन कहलाते हैं. ओके, तो क्लिनिकल फीचर तो हमने बात कर ली है, बाद में बात करेंगे हम मैनेजमेंट पार्ट. तो psychotherapy and all this counseling and the family therapy are really beneficial for treatment of anxiety disorder. Among the pharmacotherapeutic measures, SSRI, that is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, are commonly prescribed for the children with anxiety disorder, like fluoxetine, escitalopram, or fluoxamine. Remember, fluoxetine can be used from around 8 years of age, and the escitalopram is approved from around 12 years of age. Okay. Now, pediatric depression. Depression के signs क्या है? Hopelessness, worthlessness, feeling of guilt, okay, low energy, fatigue, और हम देखते हैं कि बच्चा जो पहले की जो चीजें में इंटरेस्ट था, नहीं तो लेता था, अभी बच्चे को वो चीजों में इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, नहीं तो आजू बाजू के सराउंडिंग में इंटरेस्ट नहीं रहा है। इसके अलावा उसका जो स्लीप पैटर्न है, वो जो एपेटाइट, जो फीडिंग पैटर्न है, वो डिस्टर्ब हो गया। मतलब एक तो बहुत नींद आ रही है, बहुत सो रहा है, नहीं तो कम सो रहा है। ये उसके मैनिफेस्टेशन रह सकते हैं। नहीं तो एवरी टाइम इफ द चाइल्ड इज फीलिंग टू हैव फटीग, दैट इज लो एनर्जी लेवल्स, ओके, तो ये सब मैनिफेस्टेशंस हो सकते हैं पेडियाट्रिक डिप्रेशन के। और पेडियाट्रिक डिप्रेशन के वजह से बच्चों में उसके स्टडीज हैम्पर होना, कंसंट्रेशन में डिफिकल्टी जाना, ओके, ये सब प्रॉब्लम हो सकते हैं। और इसका एंड कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस सुसाइडल टेंडेंसीज एंड सुसाइड, जो कि आजकल हम बहुत कॉमनली देखते हैं, ये हो सकता है। पर्टिकुलरली इन एडोलेसेंट एज ग्रुप इट इज रियली हार्मफुल। एंड बहुत बार हम बोलते हैं कि the roots of the adult depression is are related to the pediatric age group, because उसकी शुरुआत pediatric age group से होती है। ओके, तो डायग्नोज कैसे किया जाए अगर pediatric डिप्रेशन के बारे में बात की तो DSM-5 criteria and child depression inventory can be a really beneficiary one. Okay. Excuse me, sorry for the interruption. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So management part, again, the behavioral therapy and the interpersonal and the behavioral therapy are mainly. And the medicine part, tricyclic antidepressant and the SSRI. Mainly for pediatric depression, we are using the SSRI, that is the fluoxetine, escitalopram. Okay. And the tricyclic antidepressant can be used like nortriptyline, but better to avoid that because of the side effects. Okay. Next slide. So pediatric bipolar disorder. This is relatively less common. Okay. But bipolar disorder is nothing but a mood disorder. That is a frequent or fluctuation of mood is there, in which the feelings, thought, or the behavior and the perceptions are altered in the context of the episodes of mania and the depression. तो इससे हम बोल सकते हैं कि बच्चा अगर डिप्रेशन में भी जा सकता है, there is low mood and the mania can be the one of the manifestation. Okay. तो डायग्नोस्टिक क्राइटेरिया, अगेन द हॉलमार्क सिम्टम्स ऑफ मेनिया। हाँ, तो हमने डिप्रेशन के सिम्टम्स तो देख लिए हैं, अभी मेनिया के सिम्टम देखते हैं। ओके, तो मेनिया के सिम्टम्स तो एबनॉर्मली ऑपन एक्सपेंसिव एंड एलिवेटेड मूड lasting for at least 1 week. Okay, it can be a manifestation of mania. They also include a decreased need of sleep, the racing thoughts, or the sense that thoughts are out of control, rapid, and often pressured speech. Okay, and increased goal directed activity. जिसमें अगर शॉर्टली अगर हिंदी में कहा जाए तो मैनिया के सिम्टम्स रह सकते हैं कि एक्सेसिव एनर्जी, एक्सेसिव टॉकिंग, ओके, उसको अगर नींद भी कम आती है और कॉन्फिडेंस ज्यादा रहता है, रिस्क टेकिंग बिहेवियर ज्यादा रहता है, ओके। And if these manic episodes are mixed with depressive illness, then we called it as a bipolar disorder. So again, the DSM-5 criteria can be used, and the treatment, the psychotherapy, that is CBT, and the medicines, that is mood stabilizing medication. In adults, we see the lithium is commonly used. Along with that, the divalproex sodium, carbamazepine, lamotrigine are all these mood stabilizing agents. Okay. Antipsychotic medicines like aripiprazole and the risperidone can also be used, and the antidepressant medications, these are not quite properly used for this bipolar. Psychosomatic disorder, that is conversion reaction and the Munchausen by proxy syndrome. अभी हम इसको शॉर्ट में लेंगे। कन्वर्जन रिएक्शंस क्या होता है कि बच्चे को कोई नहीं तो ऑर्गेनिक इलनेस नहीं है, नहीं तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बट ड्यू टू इमोशनल स्ट्रेस आउट और ड्यू टू एंगर और फ्रस्ट्रेशन सिर्फ एक्सटर्नल मैनिफेस्टेशंस आ रहे हैं। कभी कभार बहुत बार हम ये पीडियाट्रिशियन मोस्टली एडोलेसेंट एज ग्रुप में बच्चों को दिखते हैं कि दोज आर सफरिंग फ्रॉम कन्वर्जन रिएक्शन, हम इसे CR बोलते हैं। कन्वर्जन रिएक्शन में बच्चा एक तो फेक फिजिकल मैनिफेस्टेशन हमें इनकाउंटर हो सकते हैं, लाइक उसको वो सीजर्स के तरह मिमिक कर सकता है, पैरालिसिस के तरह मिमिक कर सकता है, नहीं तो रिकरेंट एब्डोमिनल पेन मैनिफेस्टेशन हो सकता है। ओके, तो इसको हमें डिफर करना है, डिफरेंशिएट करना है ऑर्गेनिक कॉजेस। तो ऑर्गेनिक कॉजेस से इसको कैसे डिफरेंशिएट किया जाए? तो इफ तो एक तो हिस्ट्री हमें बोलती है, नहीं तो इनकंसिस्टेंसी ऑफ द क्लिनिकल साइंस and the prolonged observation of the behavior. The conversion reaction tend to increase during the family or doctor's attention, thought frequently, and these responses are not within the parents voluntarily control. अगर हम मेडिसिन दे भी, जैसे अभी बच्चे को समझो वो मिमिक कर रहा है सीजर जैसा, और हम इसे लोराज़ेपाम मिडाज़ोलम दो दे भी, तब भी वो पूरी तरह से शांत नहीं होंगे, नहीं तो आजू बाजू अगर फैमिली मेंबर्स है तो बढ़ेंगे। अभी मंचाउजन बाय प्रॉक्सी सिंड्रोम, ओके, इट इज अ फॉर्म ऑफ चाइल्ड एब्यूज। वहां पे क्या होता है कि पेरेंट्स रिपीटेडली come to doctor that my child is suffering from this problem, okay, and the history is not mostly related to that symptom or that event, okay, और बहुत सारी इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर ले उसके बाद में भी अगर कोई कॉज नहीं मिल रहा है, ओके, so then we have to suspect that something is going wrong, and this Munchausen syndrome by proxy can be suspected. And for that, we have to take the detailed family history also, and to evaluate the child for their mental issues also. This is more common in the child abuse. These are also related to child abuse, and these are more common in Western countries mainly. Okay. So next slide, please. So diagnostic indicators, we will skip this. Okay. So next slide. So main part of today's discussion, that is ADHD. Okay, ADHD is nothing but attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Okay. So ADHD history and if any complaints. Okay. So so we have to evaluate the behavior of the child at the school and within the family and among the within his peer age group children's also. Also consider any history of substance abuse or poorer socioeconomic conditions are also responsible. Okay. Any complaints from the teacher, that is also the academic performance and the interactions with the others and how the turn taking and the sharing, and any medicine history we have to consider while evaluating any child with the ADHD. Next slide, please. And how's the and what the process of making the diagnosis or the diagnostic of this ADHD is that mainly DSM-5 criteria, and all the manifestations are enlisted here. That is, the ADHD is mainly of two kinds, or it can be sometimes the mixed kind also, mixed type also. But the symptoms should start before 12 years of age group. Okay, and there are more than six symptoms out of these 9 enlisted. Okay, and for adults this criteria is modified to more than 5 symptoms. Okay, apart from this DSM-5 criteria, this is mainly for diagnostic. Some of the screening methods are there, like Conners or the Vanderbilt questionnaire, that can be used to screen the children with the ADHD. Okay. तो ये ADHD चिल्ड्रन के लक्षण क्या दिखाई दे सकते हैं, नहीं तो उसके मैनिफेस्टेशन क्या है? तो एक तो हाइपर एक्टिव टाइप ऑफ ADHD जो रहते हैं बच्चे, उनमें मैनिफेस्टेशन दिखते हैं कि बच्चा एक जगह पे बैठ ही नहीं रहा है, नहीं तो बैठा भी है बच्चा तो भी हाथ पैर हिला रहा है, जिसे हम फिजेटिनेस बोलते हैं, नहीं तो इजीली डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो रहा है बच्चा, नहीं तो ऑलवेज रन्स एंड ही ऑलवेज टॉक्स एक्सेसिवली, नहीं तो कोई दूसरा बात कर रहा है उसको ब्लर्ट कर रहा है, ये हाइपर एक्टिविटी नहीं तो इम्पल्सिविटी के लक्षण है। अभी इम्पल्सिविटी के लक्षण क्या है कि मैं वेट ही नहीं कर सकता, मेरी टर्न कब आएगी, अगर 5 जन लाइन में खड़े हैं तो मेरी टर्न कब आएगी इसका वो वेट नहीं कर सकता। नहीं तो कहाँ पे कन्वर्सेशन शुरू है तो वो ब्लर्ट कर देगा, ब्लर्ट कर क्यों कर रहा है, क्योंकि वो वेट नहीं कर सकता। अभी इनअटेंशन के क्या लक्षण है, तो जो भी टास्क है, वेदर इट इज अ होमवर्क और एनी अदर थिंग्स दैट रिक्वायर द सस्टेंडेड अटेंशन, उसमें बच्चा ध्यान नहीं दे पा रहा। इसकी वजह से क्या होता है कि स्टडीज मेनली हैम्पर होती है। ओके, वो इजीली डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो रहा है और डेली डे टू डे एक्टिविटीज है उसमें भी वो फॉरगेटफुलनेस उसको नोटिस करते हैं। तो ये सब लक्षण है एडीएचडी के बीमारी के। ओके, अभी इसकी ट्रेजेक्टरी क्या वो रहती है ये भी हम देख लेंगे। तो मोस्टली जो हाइपर एक्टिव बिहेवियर है वो 9 से 10 साल के, जो 3 से 4 साल के बाद में नोटिस होना शुरू हो जाता है, और मोस्टली 9-10 साल की उम्र तक होते होते वो कम हो जाता है। और इनअटेंशन मेनली 7 से 8 साल के बाद में दिखना शुरू हो जाता है, वो परसिस्टेंट रहता है, उसके मैनिफेस्टेशन वेरी हो सकते हैं। दैट इज इनअटेंशन के परिणाम जो है वो हमें बाद में मालूम पड़ते हैं in the form of academic hampering, okay, or deficit in the ongoing school activities. Okay, next slide please. So these are some of the issues which are the causing factors for ADHD. Okay, so if we divide this, so there are some home issues, lifestyle issues and the risk factors. Okay, so home related issues, that dysfunctional families and the poor parenting style, or the parental mental health disorders, or if there is any history of child abuse or traumatic event or foster placement. So all this can cause or can be a contributory factor for ADHD. Second one is the lifestyle issues, the child eating, and the screen time and the sleep hygiene. Okay, अगर बच्चे की नींद बराबर पूरी नहीं हो रही है तो ऑब्वियसली दूसरे दिन वो hyperactivity of the perinatal insult or the issues like birth asphyxia or the head trauma or the CNS infection. All this can cause or contribute to the ADHD. Next slide, please. ADHD मिमिक्स मतलब ADHD मिमिक्स मतलब क्या है कि कुछ ऐसी बीमारियां, नहीं तो कुछ ऐसे सिम्टम्स जो एडीएचडी के जो बच्चे हैं जिनमें हाइपर एक्टिव इनअटेंटिव जो सिम्टम्स है उससे मिमिक करते हैं, मतलब वो सिम्टम्स वो बच्चों के वैसे ही लगेंगे जैसे एडीएचडी के बच्चों के हैं, बट अदर रीजंस कैन बी देयर। ओके, तो एडीएचडी मिमिक्स में क्या है कि हियरिंग एंड विजन इम्पेयरमेंट, जिसको बराबर सुनाई नहीं देता नहीं तो दिखाई नहीं देता। एपिलेप्सी, मेनली absence seizure or the focal seizure. Sleep disorder, thyroid dysfunction, anemia, child abuse और auditory processing disorder, ये सब कंडीशन ऐसी है मेनली doctors related, and doctors has to differentiate these conditions and evaluate the child for this condition before coming on to the conclusion of ADHD. अभी यहाँ पे बहुत ही अच्छा ये दिया है कि डिफरेंशिएटिंग फैक्टर दिए है टू डिफरेंशिएट द चाइल्ड फॉर द ADHD एंड ASD, ऑटिज्म। अभी हम जब बात करते हैं कि ADHD वाला, कॉमनली पेरेंट कम टू द डॉक्टर्स विद द मेन कंप्लेंट ऑफ अगर मेरा बच्चा एक जगह पे बैठ ही नहीं रहा है, हमेशा दौड़ रहा है, शांत बैठता नहीं है, तो अटेंशन नहीं लगा पाता है। ओके, और कहीं कभार वो हम नाम से पुकारते हैं तो देखता नहीं है, ये सब कॉमन कंप्लेंट रहते हैं ADHD चिल्ड्रन। अभी हमको डिफरेंशिएट करना है कि ये ऑटिज्म तो नहीं है, मतलब one of the common condition and that is more harmful even than ADHD is autism. It is among the pervasive developmental disorder spectrum. Okay, जिसको हम मराठी हिंदी में इसको जिसको स्वयं मग्नता बोलते हैं कि ऑटिज्म में बच्चा खुद में ही रहता है, बाकी चीजों में आजू बाजू की चीजों में इंटरेस्ट नहीं लेता है, नहीं तो नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन डेफिसिट रहते हैं, नहीं तो प्रिटेंड प्ले, नहीं तो इमिटेशन स्किल बच्चे के पुअर रहते हैं. So how to differentiate from the autism from ADHD? All these points are enlisted here, and the practitioners can uh, read these points. Okay. So next slide, please. So now coming on to the intervention part, first is the behavioral intervention, that is the timeout, positive reinforcement, response cost, and the token economy. The rule of behavior intervention is that it should be consistency, immediacy, specificity, and salience. The brief, clear instruction with the positive feedback and the written and the visual clues, advanced planning, sit away from the distraction, and the peer tutoring. Among the medicines ones, methylphenidate, atomoxetine, and the clonidine are one of the common medicines that are used for the treatment part. And the methylphenidate, brand name is common is Inspiral. Okay. Dose is for methylphenidate dose that we commonly use is 0.3 to 0.6 milligram per kg per day. Okay. There are sustained release preparations are also there. The immediate release are available in 5 mg, 10 mg, and the 15 mg also, and the sustained release are 10 and 20 mg preparations are there. Okay. Side effects are the mainly the nausea, vomiting, and the headache, decreased appetite, and we have to monitor the child for the growth issues and the blood pressure monitor. Okay, and avoid methylphenidate if the child is having ongoing psychological issues and the behavioral issues like tics. Okay, next one is the atomoxetine. Okay, atomoxetine, the dose is 0.5 to 1.2 milligram per kg per day. Okay, the side effect profile is same with the is similar to methylphenidate, but yes, if the child is having these tics and psychological issues, then atomoxetine is the preferred one. Okay, and we all know that the main special precaution has to be taken with the hepatotoxicity and the asthma patient. Okay. The third one is the clonidine. Okay, अगर कोई बच्चा अगर क्योंकि कैसा रहता है कि ADHD का डायग्नोसिस मोस्टली बनाया जाता है 6 to 7 years के बाद, बट कई कबार ऐसा होता है कि बच्चे को ADHD के सिम्टम्स है, नहीं तो ADHD ट्रेट्स है, और बच्चे की उम्र है अभी 3-4 साल की, तब उसके ऐसे समय पे क्या देना? तो सब थेरेपी कर लिए, सब कर लिए, नहीं तो थेरेपी के लिए बच्चा बैठ नहीं रहा. तो अगर एज ग्रुप अगर कम है, नहीं तो स्लीप इश्यूज है, नहीं तो डे टू डे एक्टिविटीज अगर हैम्पर हो रही है, तो एनी ऑफ दिस मेडिसिन कैन बी यूज. बट क्लोनिडीन, टू माय ओपिनियन, आई एम मोस्टली प्रेफरिंग क्लोनिडीन द चाइल्ड इज लेस देन 5 years of age. Okay, but we have to consider some of the issues or side effect profile like abdominal pain and hypotension. Okay, while giving that, Arkeamine is the brand name. Okay, the commonly used, and many others are there. Okay, start with the low dose. 100, 200, and 300 microgram tablets are available, and the maximum dose is 400 microgram, that is 0.4 mg. Okay. Next slide, please. Thereafter, these are some disorders, disruptive disorders like ODD, IED, and the conductive disorders that we already talked about. Okay. Next slide, please. So differential diagnosis. Next slide. We already covered these issues. Okay. Next slide. So there is a symptom trait. Okay, for the ADHD children. So initially, the child shows the ADHD manifestation. Later on, it can progress to ODD, that is positional defiant disorder, and later the child can manifest or behaves the symptoms like the conduct disorders. Please, sorry for the interruption. Okay. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। बिहेवियरल इवेल्युएशन। अगर कोई भी बच्चा, अगर ये पेरेंट्स के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, अगर कोई भी बच्चा अगर कुछ बिहेवियर थ्रो करता है, अगर वेदर इट इज अ टेंट्रम और एनी काइंड ऑफ बिहेवियर, ओके, तो हमें उसे इवेल्युएट करना पड़ेगा, कि उसके कंसिडर करना पड़ेगा कि व्हाट कैन बी द रीजंस ऑफ दिस बिहेवियर। ओके, so while evaluating any behavior actually, okay, so we have to consider a b c of this behavior, that is antecedent, behavior and the consequences. Okay, next slide please. Yes, all these factors are enlisted here, that is antecedent, behavior and the consequences. Antecedent मतलब वो behavior के पहले क्या हो रहा है, कि ये बिहेवियर की वजह क्या है। ओके, बिहेवियर मतलब जो भी बिहेवियर, अगर बच्चा ऑब्जेक्ट थ्रो कर रहा है, नहीं तो हेड बैंगिंग कर रहा है, नहीं तो स्क्रीमिंग कर रहा है, ओके, नहीं तो रोलिंग ओवर कर रहा है जमीन पे, तो ये वो बिहेवियर होगा। और कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस मतलब पेरेंट्स क्या कर रहे हैं। मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम इंडियन सिनेरियोज में ये देखा जाता है कि पेरेंट्स क्या करते हैं, कोई भी बिहेवियर दिखा तो बच्चे का, एक तो उसे पनिश करते हैं, ओके, नहीं तो वो चीज दे देते हैं उसे। ओके, तो ये सब चीजों को, एंटीसीडेंट, बिहेवियर और कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, ये सब चीजों को हमें इवेल्युएट करना है एज अ क्लिनिशियन। ओके, और एंटिसिपेटरी गाइडलाइंस जो बोलते हैं कि वो क्या होनी चाहिए, तो पेरेंटिंग के बारे में हम पेरेंटिंग भी डिटेल में देखेंगे। ऑथोरिटेटिव पेरेंटिंग होनी चाहिए, ओके, पॉजिटिव पेरेंटिंग होनी चाहिए, डिसिप्लिनरी प्रैक्टिसेस शुड बी देयर एंड लिमिट सेटिंग शुड बी देयर। एक लिमिट में रखिए, कि बच्चे को पहले ही समझाइए कि बच्चे को ये आपको अलाउड है, ये आपको अलाउड नहीं है। ओके, और पहले ही क्या एक्सपेक्टेड है बच्चे से वो भी उससे बोल। ओके, encourage and reinforce the good behavior and clearly state what is acceptable behavior। ओके, और एंटीसिपेटरी गाइडिंग्स फॉर स्क्रीन टाइम। अभी ये स्क्रीन टाइम ये बहुत बड़ा इशू हो गया है, क्योंकि पैंडेमिक, बच्चे घर के अंदर बंद है, बाहर सोशलाइजेशन एंड फिजिकली एक्टिविटीज को बहुत ज्यादा रिस्ट्रेन है। So what are the guidelines for screen time? So avoid screen time as much as possible and till 2 years of age group, and except video chatting is allowed. Okay, and from 2 to 5 years of age, 1 hour or less of preferably is the supervised screen time, or more than 2 hours of screen time or viewing is allowed for more than 5 years, but that should be a supervised screen time. Okay, हमें ये भी देखना है कि बच्चा कितने देर तक स्क्रीन देख रहा है, इट इज फ्रीक्वेंसी कितनी है, टोटल टाइम ड्यूरेशन कितना है, और उसके अलावा ये कंसिडर करना चाहिए कि कंटेंट क्या होना चाहिए, कंटेंट क्या है। ओके, स्पेशली एडोलेसेंट एज ग्रुप में कंटेंट इज द मेन इशू। ओके, और चाइल्डहुड एज ग्रुप में भी जो बच्चे एनिमेटेड बिहेवियर थ्रो करते हैं उनके बारे में भी ये स्पेशली इम्पोर्टेंस है कि कंटेंट क्या है बिहेवियर, मतलब नहीं तो स्क्रीन टाइम का। ओके, ये बच्चे बहुत बार नकल करते हैं, इमिटेशन करते हैं कि जो कार्टून्स में दिखाया क्या है, उसके वजह से क्या होता है कि हार्मफुल बिहेवियर, ऑब्जेक्ट थ्रोइंग, ओके, नहीं तो डिफाइंड बिहेवियर, ये सब इंक्रीज होने के चांसेस रहते हैं। ओके, तो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। So these are the type of parenting, and this slide is available on the Google actually. And in short, I have to say that the parenting should be the authoritative type. That is, the demandingness is high and the responsiveness is also high. ये चार तरह की पेरेंटिंग रहती है। शॉर्ट में बोला जाए तो परमिसिव पेरेंटिंग इज नथिंग बट जो बच्चे को तुझे जो करना है वो कर। अनइन्वॉल्व पेरेंटिंग मतलब कि मुझे कुछ लेना देना नहीं है। ओके, ऑथोरिटेरियम मतलब जिसमें डिमांड भी बहुत रहती है पेरेंट्स की, बट उतना वार्मथ नहीं रहता, मतलब जिसको बच्चे का जितना समझना चाहिए, नहीं तो समझाना चाहिए, वो उतना बच्चे को नहीं समझाते। ओके, और द गुड वन इज द ऑथोरिटेटिव पेरेंटिंग वेयर द डिमांडिंगनेस एंड द रिस्पॉन्सिवनेस इज बोथ हाई। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। Behavioral management tips. There are only, this is the last slide. Okay, behavioral management tips. लेस यूज ऑफ नो, कभी भी ना, बार बार ना मत बोलिए। ओके, instead giving the choices, all the alternatives when feasible, that is promote the autonomy. बच्चे को कहिए कि हर बार ना ही, अगर ये तुझे नहीं करना है ये मत कर, ऐसा बोलने के बजाय ये बोलिए कि आपको इसमें से, ये दोनों में से क्या चाहिए, नहीं तो हाँ मैं ज्वाइन होता हूँ, आप हम ये साथ में करते हैं, दैट इज प्रमोट कीजिए उसे। लिमिट सेटिंग, दैट इज सेट रीजनेबल लिमिट। हाँ आपको ये अलाउड है, ये नहीं अलाउड है, हाँ उसमें भी टाइम लिमिट भी कर सकते हैं आप, ये लिमिट तक आप स्क्रीन अलाउड है, ये लिमिट तक आपको गेम्स अलाउड। ओके, एंड हैव कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, अगर आपने ये नहीं किया, समझो आपने ये रूल्स फॉलो नहीं किए तो क्या होना चाहिए, ये भी मेंशन। ओके, लास्ट में ये प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर ऑकर्स, देन आइडिया मींस इग्नोर, डिस्ट्रैक्ट, एम्ब्रेस एंड अवॉइड। टाइम आउट सेशन का ऐसा रहता है, टाइम आउट सेशंस में बच्चा अगर सुन ही नहीं रहा है तो इट कैन बी लास्ट ऑप्शन। घर के ऐसे कोने में, नहीं तो ऐसी जगह पे बैठाइए जहाँ पे देयर शुड बी नो सोशल और फिजिकल इंटरेक्शन, and there should not be any entertaining things like screening or TV, mobile, iPad or whatever it may be. Okay, तो ऐसी जगह पे बच्चों को बैठाना है जहाँ पे उससे कोई इंटरेक्ट ना करे और जहाँ पे कोई एंटरटेनमेंट की सुविधा उसके लिए ना हो। टाइम आउट का ड्यूरेशन आमतौर पे बोलते हैं कि ये प्रैक्टिस किया जा सकता है 2 से 9 साल तक के बच्चों में, और ड्यूरेशन ऑफ द टाइम आउट शुड बी इक्वल टू एज ऑफ द चाइल्ड, दैट इज अगर 6 साल का बच्चा है तो 6 मिनट तक बैठा सकते हैं। शुरुआत में कम समय के लिए ट्राई कीजिए और बाद में उसका समय आप बढ़ा सकते। ओके, एंड लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, बी अ गुड रोल मॉडल फॉर द चिल्ड्रन। बच्चे जो कुछ भी करते हैं, नहीं तो उनका जो कुछ भी बिहेवियर मैनिफेस्ट होता है, वो पहले पेरेंट को देखते हैं और उसके बाद में, और नहीं तो हम ये बोल सकते हैं कि उसका पेरेंटिंग का और पेरेंट जो बिहेवियर करते हैं उसका इम्पैक्ट बहुत ज्यादा रहता है बच्चों पे। तो इसलिए बी अ गुड रोल मॉडल फॉर द चिल्ड्रन। ओके, एंड देन ओनली यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट द गुड behaviors from your child. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for this wonderful presentation. Now, I would request all the participants, if they have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question, or any query you have. Also, you can write your question or query in the chat box itself. Do we have any questions among the participants?
I think the chat box is empty.
Right.
So the participants are not having any queries. Can we conclude this?
Sure. I would like to thank you again for this interactive and informative session. Also for joining with us for this session, and thank you to all and professionals for joining with us today. Now we shall see you next time. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, thanks for the inviting and have a good day. Okay, thanks. Thanks everyone.